Just because your name is Gustav doesn't mean you can't be a Richard in your own way.
He's a Richard.
We have Sasha Cooke, magnificent mezzo. We did this together in Houston, also with Maestro Valchua. Here we are at it again in Tokyo. Song number 1. Das Trinklied om Jammer der Erde. The drinking song, the sorrow of the earth. I have the biggest Richard move. The opening pitch is just this middle C, right in the middle of the staff, and like this really loud orchestra. So like the only way to actually make it cut is to forget about the vowels. What do we always do when we're trying to quiet a room down? What do we say? Okay. Thankfully, the first word is shum. So I just really send out a lot of sh to get the sound to cut through. Next, Richard moves. We're on a top B flat, top A natural. A few measures later, we have to be completely relaxed on a really low D natural on an open vowel vent. And that's no fun. That's the Richard move. Dunkel ist das Leben, ist der Tod. Very nice.
This is Richard tenor, right?
Yeah, dunkel is good. Can be very good up top. Especially if that sort of mezzo voce like dynamic. So number 36, when he begins answering the question, how long, oh man, do you actually exist on Earth? The answer is not even 100 years. Starting at this section, it's just G, A's, culminating in this B flat. Probably one of the hardest things you do besides Gurlieder or Tunnels or Tristan would probably be the last 3 pages of this opening number. And again, you like got to come like right out of the box, right out of the dressing room, and just go.
Okay, movement number 2, Richard moves. I'd say number 1 is starting in the passaggio on a pianissimo. For the mezzo to start, not my favorite thing. On an F, Herbst. Really? Herbst? Not the with vowel. Consonant cluster. Nope. I have to go Herbst. I kind of take out one of the consonants in there. Thankfully, though, you don't have to compete with any orchestra. In a sense, treacherously delicate. So, no humming.
And you've also had to stand there like in 2 minutes of introduction.
That's right. You have a long intro. I always feel like it's so much of being present is listening, especially when you have this beautiful music. The loneliness of the beginning of this piece, you just go there. The thing about Das Lied von der Erde is you have the 2 extremes of the range for the mezzo-soprano. So in this movement, you have a couple moments, you get really low in the voice, and you still have to speak over the orchestra. And you have one more entrance right in the passaggio. Der süße Duft. A little bit better because now you've relaxed a little bit. For me, the passaggio, it's about not over opening, not over spacing. So if I kind of keep it simple, then it's okay. And, keeping your support ground and whatnot. I think a lot of mezzos, if we kind of like hang up or splat, then we're in trouble. So that's Richard moves for this movement, number 2.
My second song is Von der Jugend, and this is the one with like sort of the pentatonic Asian flair.
Sounds great.
It's actually a fun thing to sing once you finally get the tonalities to settle into your brain. The middle verse is a little weird. It starts out like it's not going to be difficult, but then traverse the passaggio, you go over the staff, G's and F sharps and all this kind of stuff, all on a song that's supposed to be like nice and delicate, but you can't actually, like you can do it falsetto, you have to do it more than mezzo di voce. That's the trick on this one. Is obviously it can't be as heroic as the first or the third song for tenor, but it also can't be done pussyfooting around. So.
In dem Häuschen sitzen Freunde, schön gekleidet, trinken, plaudern, manche schreiben Verse nieder.
So the latter half of that second verse is even worse. So it starts on a D and then ends up with G sharps at the top.
Ihre Seiten an Ärmel gleiten, rückwärts ihre Seiten nützen, Glocken lustig steht im Nacken.
Time out! man, this is horrible.
This piece almost asked for like 3 different tenors.
I think so.
You know, you got the drama where you have to compete with the orchestra. And then you have this one, which is kind of light.
I know. It's nothing like the first and last one, is it? Also, there's this 10-minute long word, Spiegelbilder. I always tank up before this. Im Spiel.
Im
Moving 4, von der Schönheit. So this one is probably the hardest of all of the mezzo pieces, I think. First of all, you have this crazy loud fast section, which is sort of like impossible. For me, it's about spitting out the text as much as possible, not about vibration. So I think about clarity and chest voice and just release and not beauty, for sure.
You've posted today the famous Christa Ludwig chewing out Lenny Bernard.
This is so much slower than I ever do it.
The Dick Van Dyke Show.
So, would you have preferred maybe for it not to be so low with the dust frost?
Yeah, I think it's too darn low.
It's
You
like-
wonder who Mahler was writing for, because we're text E and not so vocal, and then at the very bottom of the range, so you're kind of barking. You're chesting a huge amount of it, which I'm sure is about calling out, seeing these sights. So you're like trying to make it like speech, but when you're singing, it's not so comfortable. So I'd say a lot higher, and frankly, not so fast.
If a maestro is not crouched down completely to his knees at this point,
It's
you don't really-
overridden. It's over. He should have changed the whole dynamic picture of this section. It's always a moment where I feel like the voice gets taken over by the orchestra, and you just accept that. You're like, I'm not going to be heard here. This movement is impossible to do off the support. I have to remember to just sing. Bel canto technique, in movement 4.
Okay, the main problem with this is the tonalities. It just takes forever to learn where this fits. I mean, just take a look here. You've got a B flat major triad, arpeggio rather, but what's in the accompaniment? Like nothing looks like a B flat major chord. And then you get all these high notes that are just out of nowhere. Mostly they're left up to by like an octave or like a minor 7th or a 9th or something like this. And then lots of times you hit them and have to immediately decrescendo. Look at the Weil Kehl Seele Fall. And you got to be on a high A, hit it hard, and that by this point of the night, still have the ability to just like pull it back. And then right in the middle of it, after you've been like plugging away in the high notes, punching away, poking away, stabbing away, whatever Rich will do, then you gotta have this like little moment where you hear this word, orchestration is still actually kind of thick, but you're in your lower register. Hit that low E's, and then over here, this like flat, but then the section culminates in a high triple pianissimo, A natural, and where
Do you do float, or do you pulse?
Ideally, it's a nice float. Like, I didn't, to be honest, world, I didn't have that float in me tonight, so I actually gave it more volume than I normally do, and I felt kind of bad about it, but one does what one does. Like, fly always, Japan, we have like, a few rehearsals, and as long as you just do what you can. Anyway, the end is pretty rough. The end is very rough. And look what happens. You resolve a low G sharp to a high A. It almost reminds me of Andrula. An ever loving. You're resolving up a minor 9th.
Richard Moves or Der Abschied, which is in itself a Richard move because you've got 30 minutes of music, all mezzo. Second Richard move is a lot of floating in the passaggio. Mezzos we don't love singing up there. We don't have a lot up in our F's and G's in the repertoire. Filling the silence. That's a Richard move.
For a number that's been so quiet, it's so like sparse. It's
loud.
undercomposed. This is the most undercomposed in a way.
That's true.
In the sense that it's not all like crammed into not all crammed into the short amount of time.
It's very chamber music to me. And there's like a 3-minute interlude. What I sometimes like to sit down because I feel like it draws the focus of the orchestra. This big break in the orchestral part is also a change in the poetry. So we have a change from the majority of the first section to the second section. We're meeting the visitor. We're meeting fate. We're meeting God. Even though Mahler had a lot of honks, music is his salvation. So to me, the finality of this AV is blissful. I guess there's a Richard move in that you are not what it's all about. You're in service to something greater. So you check your ego at the door. You bring the best you can bring. You were talking about that, like with jet lag and whatnot. You know, you just show up, you do the best you can, and that's it. Like the generosity is paramount to the vocals. There's this really cathartic moment. The conductor brings the whole orchestra up, and then the mezzo starts. Die liebe Erde.
Oh, it's so good.
It's like one of these stunning moments, and you just have to stay grounded. This is tricky with a lot going on in the orchestra. So for the singer, you're just thinking in one, but if you're not listening, it doesn't work because a lot of people are taking time. So I would say there's a Richard move in like the longevity.
It's kind of swimmy.
Yeah, it's very
swimmy. So it's like no bar lines.
You've got like septuplets, you've got quintuplets. If you get too analytical, you'll like go crazy.
Hopefully, maestro's like cueing you.
Yeah, and I've been lucky. I've had amazing maestros for this.
Yeah, so you've done this piece how many times? I mean,
well, this is my 14th city. I've been like, I love this piece. It's like one of my most favorite.
I know. So the tenor stuff is so cathartic, even though, despite the moves. It's just
despite the hard stuff.
Oh, I know. I mean, the hard.
There is something really cathartic about it. I don't know what it is.
Hard stuff is cathartic. That's the
it is actually.
Quote. I would say another one probably for you, if I can speak on your behalf, it's when it's a differently placed AV word every time.
You've got 100 instruments doing different things at different times, and you have to come in just cleanly with them. So this is one of those moments where it's not about you, and it's just about listening and feeling the moment.
And it's one of these times where it's like almost impossible to have it with score. It's impossible to have it without because the counting is so tricky. But then when you have it with score, it's such a like sensitive moment. If it focuses up here, sort of balcony level ish, and then to have to look down to take you out of it. So,
In some ways.
Mahler, we love you, but just because your name is Gustav doesn't mean you're not guilty of a little bit of Richard Moves.
Just a few.